I don't have anything else.
What was it?
Homer family.
Homer family. Okay. Anybody else?
Fellowship.
Fellowship. Good.
Safe place.
What's that?
Safe place.
Safe place. Very good. Yeah. Back table? Sorry.
As we choose.
Yes.
A place that works.
A place that works. Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by that, Nathan?
It can go 4 different ways.
Okay.
So you said one sentence, so that's my sentence.
Uh-huh.
But it's a place that, like, we have things that we do. And we kind of work together. And those are at least the two. But you can use your own definition of it.
That's such an engineering definition. I love it, Nathan. So great. What about this table over here? Sorry, put you on the spot.
I'm recording.
You're recording.
Wow. Let me think about it.
Okay, sure. Anybody else have anything else they want to say? One of the things that does not, what strikes me as being interesting is as this meeting is going on, we have 3 sets of farmers picking up pumpkins. Yay! And we were inundated with folks coming to the office today of still wanting to buy pumpkins as well as wanting to take them off of our hands, which was a real interesting time interacting with different folks. As well as we have our Cub Scout group meeting in the pavilion tonight, along with us meeting in here. So I think that's a really well-rounded, robust group of folks who have gathered on our campus tonight. Thanks be to God for that. Okay, so what I would ask before we get started is if you would turn your cell phones off. If you would put your cell phones away, you cannot look at them for the next 30 minutes.
Oh,
You can do it. You can do it.
I have a word for it.
30 minutes.
My word is Bible.
Can you hold on for a second?
All right. Okay. Firstly, I want to pay attention to the time that we have together tonight, and I recognize that nobody wants to be here longer than what we need to be. So I'm going to be quick and concise. Today, when I was gathering up all of the information in regards to what I wanted to share with you all, I was a bit overwhelmed at what this little church has done in the course of a year. Sorry, I need to sit down in a chair, don't I? You worked so hard on this all day today, and I'm not even sitting in it.
Hang on, let me spin the camera around.
Okay.
Where's your crown?
Where's the crown? No crown. We're doing this way so that the folks at home can watch it for those that weren't able to gather with us tonight. So we'll have a recording and we'll post it to YouTube. So if you check out or you don't want to listen to me anymore and you want to pick back up later, you can, okay? If you can't hear me, just let me know. This is our 2022 Fireside Chat. Welcome, everybody. And just as an overview, I would like to remind people about some of the things in which we stand for. So when you're out in the community and you are wearing one of your gorgeous Grace shirts and someone, when you're picking out bananas, comes up to you and says, "What is that about?" I want you guys to be able to say, "What does your church stand for?" And when asked the question, "What is Grace like?" you can say this: we are a church that says yes. We are a church that loves God and loves our neighbor. That's our mission statement. Nothing fancy, nothing hard, nothing 25 sentences long. It's love God and love our neighbor. And I think we do it rather well here at Grace. In addition, we are guided by what are called holy experiments. At any time on this campus, we have little experiments going on, ways in which we can reach our community, ways in which we can become more fully formed as disciples of Jesus. Okay? That is why I am your priest. I want to walk with you so that we can all grow in the life of faith together. Does that sound reasonable?
Yes.
So we are a church that says yes. And what do we believe is grace? We love God and love our neighbor. So when you meet somebody out in the community, you can tell them simply, grace is this. We are a church that says yes, and we love God and we love our neighbor. Just like what Jesus told us to do. Okay? And we are also a church that just doesn't meet on Sundays. So if you come by here throughout the week, it's kind of a bustling place in that there's movement on our campus that happens throughout the course of the week. Not only are Grace members descending on the grounds of Grace, but we have community members, all kinds of folks who find themselves to Grace every single day. If you spend an afternoon or a morning in the office, you will realize that our doors are pretty much open all the time, and they are revolving doors. Lots of folks in and out. It's kind of like the beehive of Grace, are the offices. You know, it's a beehive of activity. And to me, that's one way you can tell if a church is thriving. Nobody has their feet propped up on their desk. Nobody is twiddling their thumbs wondering what we're going to do next. And certainly the doors aren't locked. The doors are always open, except for about 30 minutes on Wednesdays when we have noonday prayer around the world. But otherwise, it's an open campus, and that's how we really think ministry happens here. So why have I called you all together tonight? Well, it is that time of the year when just about every Episcopal church has an emphasis on stewardship. Now, every Episcopal church has their own way of doing it. And at Grace, one of the things I think it's important to say is that stewardship for us is not a monthly thing. It's not 1 month out of the year that we're going to say, oh, we're going to do what the Bible says, and we're going to be stewardshipy. Stewardshipy? No. Stewardship happens every single month at Grace. We steward well what God has given to us here at this place so that we can then enter our own homes and steward well what God has given to us, right? And so stewardship is naturally taking well or taking good care of what God has given to you. And part of taking good care of what God has given to you is giving back some of what God has given to each of us. That's what it means to be a good steward. I say this often, it's really beautifully lived out in the way our food pantry works. In that we take in, but as much as we take in, we give out. There is no theology of hoarding. There is no storing. Why is that? Because we know there's an entire community who needs. And I think it's anti-gospel if you have something in large amounts with a community that needs it, and you instead decide, I'm not going to share it with my community. Instead, I'm going to store it. There are parables about that, and I'll just say this, those parables never end well. So that's a good enough example for me not to be that way. And so the basic philosophy is what comes in as quickly goes out, because why? In faith, we believe that more will come in. And I am constantly amazed at how it happens. On Sunday, I'll give a brief example. On Sunday, I had a gentleman come into my office and said, I'm here to make up the delta, Suzanne. And I said, you are? And this gentleman said, yes, because you asked for it. And what I asked for was in our weekly email was that we're having a Thanksgiving drive, and this gentleman is not going to go out and buy. Instead, he gives a white envelope. And in that white envelope has enough funds to help fund our blessing box and refrigerator for most of the month. And that gentleman is sitting amongst you all tonight.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. And this gentleman single-handedly does a lot of the funding in a very anonymous and a very quiet way. And I am astonished how all the time he knows when to give. We had, I also requested, I need cards for our card ministry. And lo and behold, on my way out tonight, what lands in my office? 2 boxes of cards that appeared on my desk because somebody read the email and answered the call. That's what I'm talking about, the trust and belief. If you put it out into the universe, if you put it out into the world, there are going to be those whose hearts are attentioned to meeting a need. And this church is full of people like that, done in very different ways. All of it, at the base of all of it is stewardship. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I do have a running theme in a lot of the sermons I'm preaching is moving about the world or moving about the space you inhabit with the eyes and heart of Jesus, right? And the eyes and hearts of Jesus is one of this. You have compassion and you have empathy. And you also can recognize a need and want to help meet that need. It's not a bother. In fact, it's actually pure joy when you can enter in and help meet a need of a fellow human, a fellow child of God. So thank you all for wanting, desiring, and actually inserting yourself in the kingdom work that is happening here at Grace. All of us, it takes all of us, because each of us are attuned to different things. And I want you to know how grateful I am, because I notice, and I'm thankful, and I hope I tell you all that enough, because I truly do mean it from my heart. Okay, Donna, come on down. This is y'all's treasurer, in case you did not know. Give her a round of applause. Donna Tate, this is not a paid position in our church. This is a completely volunteer position in our church, one that is so important because Donna has her eyes on all the finances of the church. So would you like to come on down, and would you like to bring us up to speed on how things are going?
Sorry, the bottom was a little bit lower than I anticipated.
Yes, I know.
So, first of all, I want to thank everybody for being here. This is, I'm no priest. I'm not an eloquent speaker. I did spend a lot of time over the last week or so kind of reflecting about what exactly to share and how to share it. I think it's important, Mother Suzanne talks to us, and she spoke tonight about loving God and loving our neighbor and being a church that says yes. And as someone, I could almost tell you the day I started attending Grace. I could tell you that it was in July of 1990. I probably can't tell you the exact Sunday without looking at a calendar. But like any worshiping family community, we've had our times of abundance and our times of feeling like we're in the desert. And where we've come over the last 5 years since you've come, I definitely have had that feeling of coming out of the desert, right, and sitting beside a pool of beautiful water with palm trees and that sense of abundance. And you've taught us to live generously, right, to talk about, to step out on our faith and to live generously with our community. And living generously to me is not about a transaction, right? It's about connections and people and relationships. And in a lot of ways, when you talk about a budget, it may not seem like a budget is a relationship, but it is. And one of the things that pledging and stewardship through pledging allows us to do is to be faithful in our budgets, right? And to be faithful in what that allows us to do in our community, in our food pantries. We've been so blessed that through this time of rebirth, and Ed, you talked about vitality. We've had Suzanne talks to the vestry a lot about God's economy, right? And that God's economy, like you were saying earlier, the need gets met, right? You don't even all the time have to articulate the need, and the need gets met. And in terms of operating the church, in terms of being able to pay Suzanne, to pay staff, to pay the light bills, right? All of those things that, again, don't seem like relationships, but they are. We've had a lot of, in my professional world, I would call non-sustainable funds, right? A one-time gift of, right? We've had grants. We've had insurance claims that have come in. We've had spontaneous donations, both from people here at Grace and people in the community that have just met needs. Unfortunately, when I look at it from a budget perspective, that vitality that I see in Grace, that aliveness, isn't really reflected in our pledges. I wish I could say differently, but I don't think it's because we don't care. Like, I don't think that that's what it is at all. I want to challenge us to think about pledging as a sign of that relationship, right? As a sign of that faith and trust in what Grace is called to do and called to be in our community. You talked about it being All Souls Day coming, after All Saints Day. And when I think about the work of a vestry and in helping to be good stewards of our church and to help make good financial decisions and to be responsible for those financial decisions, I mean, that is carrying on the work of all the saints that have come before here at Grace, right? We've got Verna Browning, whose legacy to the church, in addition to the work she did here when she was alive, but she bequeathed the church funds that allow us, the interest on which allow us to be able to do major upkeeps and repairs, and even minor upkeeps and repairs, but repairs and maintenance, right? And that's a gift, and that's the work of a lowercase s saint, and we're all lowercase s saints. And it's our time to be those kinds of stewards of grace for the future generations that we want to come behind us. At this last vestry meeting, when I gave an update on our pledges and open plate and non-pledges, so as of January through September, we were about $28,000 below budget on what was pledged versus what had come in. And, I know that all of us, have things come up in our life that may impact how we can give. I know personally for me that happened this year with my surgery. But as we're thinking about our pledges for next year, we want to take that time to think generously and to think big and to trust that God will grow it, and grow us for what we've given, right? He will bless us as well as blessing the church with that. I did want to talk a little bit about, we have received the funding from the sale of the Hood Street house, which was the legacy, right, of the Lawrence family. We have had to commit already some of that money towards, we're getting the HVAC unit in the sanctuary fixed, which, right? I mean, as someone who's been here since 1990, I think it's been not working properly since 1990. I could be wrong. but I would be willing to bet I'm not too far off. So we are going to be better stewards, and we're going to have that, and that's going to be fixed for us and for future generations. And the bell tower is being repaired as well. Yes, sir.
So with the sale of the house for the Werner Browning estate, wouldn't the HVAC be covered under the Werner Browning?
Well, I appreciate you asking that question. So yes, is it an allowable thing under the Werner Browning guidelines? It is. We are required to keep a base threshold amount in there. And like I said, there's a certain.
Would be digging into the principal.
We by law, by the way the will is written, we cannot go but into the principal, right? And we've had prior to the freeze and things like that, we've got a little bit of money in there that we can access, but not a lot. And so we felt like it was better to let that sit right now. And in our current economic times, right? Because sometimes it's all invested, and so sometimes it's a little bit less, and sometimes it's a little bit more. Since we've got the Hood Street funds available, we just wanted to do that and not have to touch it, Werner Browning, so that sometime down the road, when we don't have a Hood Street house sale, that'll be available to us. And I had wanted to talk about that, so I really do appreciate you saying that. And the bell tower repair as well. There's been a problem with the bell tower. So the vestry approved at the last vestry meeting, or the last couple of vestry meetings, to handle those two expenses from that. And then, so we don't have all of the invoices in on that work yet. So once that settles out, then Suzanne can vision the remaining of that money to the vestry for the vestry to approve a budget for that, so that money is well stewarded, so that it can bless as many people as long as possible. But I'm just up here to kind of tell you where we are, and to thank you for your support, and to ask for continued support, right? We used to say about the Werner Browning, it can't pay the light bill, but it can pay for a light bulb. It can't pay a priest's salary. There's a lot of things it can't do, and that's on us as part of our commitment with Suzanne and our staff. So, I think I'm good.
Okay, thank you, Donna, very, very much. I want to follow up with one more thing about the sale of the Hood Street house. One of the things is my goal, while I am you all's priest, and I'm not planning on leaving, but I just want, if I were to ever leave, I would want to leave this campus in better shape than what I found it. And so that means the sale of the Hood Street house really is pure gift. I mean, absolute pure gift. It was basically plopped down in our lap. And then Jim Thompson and Tom Somerville, they negotiated really well. The diocese did too. We actually ended up getting $20,000 more than what we were originally going to ask for. And so the total in sales was right at about $155,000. That's what we received from the sale of the Hood Street house. And so it's a significant amount of money. And my thinking in regards to spending that money is making sure everything that needs to be fixed for the upkeep of our buildings is done with this money in regards to the HVAC, the bell tower, and guess what? No more fluorescent lights at Grace Episcopal Church. We have entered into the 21st century with LED lighting, okay? And that switch in itself, it takes money, right? And it takes a little bit of time and money to do that. But in every single building, once TDEC gets finished with their electrical work, we will be LED everywhere. I just know in our office space, it's made a tremendous difference. My office as well as the main working office space. So those are the kinds of things that are priority for me. What we do with the rest of the money, I haven't a clue right now because I've been so focused on getting the infrastructure needs met right now. Yes, Nathan?
People are going to hate me by the end of the night.
That's okay.
That's okay, we have to leave early. So Alvin has a code that says that assembly places have to have fire suppression. I think our buildings are grandfathered in. At some point, I have a feeling that grandfathering clause might get triggered. Is there any intent to save some of that to kind of start working that direction, or?
We are saving as much of that as possible, Nathan, so that if these kinds of things come up, we will have money on hand in order to remedy the situation. So we are being very frugal in what we are doing as far as what basically needs to be done right now, Nathan. I'm not sure about fire suppression. I don't even know what that means. But
It's ridiculously expensive.
yeah, okay. Well, we may have to cross that bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's always.
That's just a fire alarm, yeah.
And so that kind of brings me to our next phase of our meeting is to quickly do a rundown just so that everybody is on the same page. Everybody in here knows we're live streaming, right? Please tell me yes. Right? You can go on your computer if you are in Alabama for the weekend, and if you want to meet your church family in worship, you can, right? Everybody knows how to do that. Everybody knows that's going on, correct?
Yes.
Okay, guess what?
Katie Garner watched church from New Zealand.
Did she really?
Yep.
Amazing. Wow. Now that's pretty amazing. And I know Bill Free, our truck driver, continues to watch every week. He'll text me, Suzanne, that was a great sermon, or Suzanne, it was so nice to see whoever. He's still very much a part of us by way of Facebook and live streaming. Guess what, guys? That is not going away. I was recently at Clericus, and every single priest on the island in Galveston has stopped live streaming. I was shocked. I was like, really? You guys aren't doing it anymore? Oh, we don't need to do it anymore. So I was just very surprised by that, and I just thought to myself, well, it's not going away anytime soon because it's just a mainstay. Now, not only are we doing that, but we are also uploading all of my sermons to YouTube, as well as, of course, you can watch me on Facebook. If you want to venture down the podcasting world, you can do that too.
It's an outreach.
It is, and it's really interesting.
An example of that.
Yes, he is, absolutely. And so are several other folks who have come to grace by way of our online technology. Yesterday, Ed shared with me that there has been somebody in this great big universe who has downloaded one of my podcasts on every single continent in the world, except for one continent, Africa.
Want to guess?
Oh, I just said it. Africa. So if you have a friend in Africa, call them and say, please download one of Suzanne's podcasts. Maybe we can tell Mother Evelyn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, I was astonished when Ed shared with there are people in Australia, New Zealand, Asia, Japan, Canada, all over who have downloaded the podcast. So it really is, like Huey just said, a way to reach a different viewing audience. In addition, we have this little thing called Holy Pause these days where you can tune in to Facebook and just see or say hello to your priest for 2 to 3 minutes as I offer up a word of encouragement, a word of hope in the midst of the crazy of our lives and our days. I hope you will tune in and at least take advantage of some of these ways that we are really trying to reach not only you guys, the people of grace, but also a wider viewing audience. And this is all kind of spurred by way of the Facebook following that we have because of the mobile food pantry. Several of these folks are the ones who came to me and said, Mother Suzanne, can you please offer your words a little bit more than just on Sunday? So that's kind of an interesting, I did never think that that would happen, but it has. In addition, we continue to have worship every Sunday. I will tell you, we will be pushing back service times a little bit later because I've heard that that it would be easier for some folks. So I'm thinking about maybe doing that in the new year. So here is your warning that is coming. I see some faces. Ooh, I'm not sure if folks are gonna like that, but I know. Shaking of the head, no, I know. And that is definitely on the agenda as well. So yeah, we're gonna be having that conversation once the new year comes, okay? How many of you guys know the name of our youth minister? Please tell me. Craig Harlan. Who is our children's minister? Who is our nursery attendant? D, yes, I'm so impressed. Everybody knows we have a nursery attendant now. And who is our community missioner? And who is our organist? Yes. And who is your priest? Okay, so that is your staff here at Grace Episcopal. Every position that has kind of been open, especially our nursery attendant, praise Jesus, thank you, Jesus, it has been filled. And Dee is doing an amazing job, and I just will say the volunteer force, as well as like Jenny Davis, who is our de facto parish administrator in many ways, she does an amazing job, but that one key role of having a nursery attendant, you guys, has been filled, and that truly is an answer to prayer, because I do believe Dee was sent to us by God. She's a blessing, and if you don't know her, you need to get to know her and love on her, because she is definitely someone worth loving and knowing. Okay, how many baptisms do you think have happened at Grace this year on Sunday? By the time Sunday rolls around, we would have 3. 3 baptisms, so 2 young ladies, Kelly Krenick's daughter Jenna, Janessa and Jessica's daughter Molly, and on Sunday, we are going to have Flossie Elkin's granddaughter, Paisley. She's going to be baptized. So 3 baptisms thus far for this year. And, oh my gosh, I forgot the pool baptism. Holy cow, I dumped a young lady in a swimming pool this year. How could I forget that? Kimberly, I'm sorry. Yes, so we've had 4 baptisms this year. And do you guys recall we had a bishop visit? It seems like ancient history, but we had a bishop visit in January, of which we had 16 confirmations and receptions. Who in this room were either confirmed or received in that bishop visit? Please raise your hand. Yep. Thank you. Yep. Awesome. Maybe our next bishop visit, Steve. Oh, I'm looking at you. Oh, yeah. Yes. Okay. So lots of good things happening as far as our worship. In addition, our main outreach is food. So that's been a very freeing thing for Grace to live into over the last couple of years, because when people come asking for money, we tell them to go to a different place. When people say we need clothes, like we had a dad from Romania who came into the office this afternoon with his young son Prince needing clothes. We said, well, we don't do clothes here, but we do food. This is where you can go to get clothes, First Presbyterian. So we are the church that offers food by way of the mobile food pantry, okay? 1.5 million pounds has already been given away. Last year, we were servicing about 200 families or so. This year, it is now bumping up near 300 families every single week that are serviced by way of our mobile food pantry efforts. Y'all, if you take it, about 4 to 5 people in each family, so that's around 1,500 to 2,000 people that we are serving by way of that ministry every single week, not including what Stephanie and many others do, Teresa, with our pantry itself and how much food goes in and out. Not even including in our back table what Johnita and Jonelle do in regards to the truck with our home deliveries. We have lots of different tentacles in regards to this operation. It's expanded, it's exploded, and it is snowballed into something that cannot be contained anymore. The tentacles are far-reaching, which is really exciting. To me, that is the definition of what ministry is. It can't be contained anymore. There's so much goodness, it just spreads. It sounds like what?
Rod sermon.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I don't even know who that is. Okay, whatever. So this ministry, and a lot of our ministries have been fueled and funded by aggressively asking for money and applying for money. And I would just like to share with you guys, Kelly Krennick applied for the same grant that Anna applied for last year, and Kelly got it this year. She applied for the maximum amount, which was $25,000, and so Grace was given that grant 2 weeks ago to help fund our mobile food pantry efforts with our seniors, and especially our home delivery project. So the diocese will be writing a check. We have not received it, but I wanted to let you guys know. Kelly and I worked on that application for about a month, and we were told 2 weeks ago that we had gotten it. Pretty exciting. In addition, we've got a $5,000 grant from the Shepherd's Nook in Friendswood, a $10,000 grant from the diocese for our missional work because we applied for it, as well as a $10,000 grant from Bakota, which is one of our partnering agencies that helped put electricity in our Morgan building, as well as the ECW gave us a generous $5,000 grant as well. So there has been money that has been flowing in, not even counting just the community members who have given and blessed our efforts, which has been truly astounding. How many of you guys have heard of the church Harbor in Friendswood? They are our good friends, and they have been very neighborly to us. They have means, we have people to give things to. So they collect for us, and we give away. And when they collect, boy, do they collect. And sometimes it is truckloads that they will bring to us. And then we have the pleasure of putting it out. Teresa and Stephanie are two of the main ones who will take things out of the bags and put them on the shelves, and sometimes that will take hours, won't it?
The last time we picked up from the harbor, we filled 2 pickup trucks. That's the bed and the back seat and the passenger seat of 2 trucks.
Did you guys hear that? That's a lot of goodness. That's a lot of goodness. Thank you, Ed, for really leveraging that partnership and allowing that to be. In addition, how many of you guys know that Second Baptist in Houston has come alongside Grace?
Oh, wow.
Yes. Oh, wow. And we didn't even reach out to them. They came to us because they heard of the good things that were happening here at Grace, and now they're one of our partnering churches, as well as Tom's realty group, Stanfield Properties, sends a cohort out every month, as well as numerous other folks from the community who have helped in big ways with our mobile food pantry efforts. All right, that's all good. It's all ministry, and it's all lovely. So I want to share with you guys, just to kind of close us out, some of the really things I'd like to celebrate. And so I'm going to go line by line, and maybe after each one, we can do a little yahoo! Woohoo! First and foremost, we are no longer landlords. The Hood Street house has sold. Yay! Well, this is a big one, y'all. And this was especially meaningful for me to take part in. Guess what? Grace celebrated 126 years this year. Woo! Tommy and Becky Peebles, Anna, and who else was on that committee in here? You guys did a fantastic job. Man, that was a really special day in the life of our church, and especially in light of what's happened to Tommy in recent days. Thanks be to God that he was able to spearhead that big day for all of us. What a blessing for our community. What a blessing for us. Okay, next thing. Y'all, we have a pumpkin patch, which is our gift to our community. Not only was it expanded this year, but our profit was $3,300. Yay! Okay, Anna, we're going to have ourselves a Don's Fish Fry in April of 2023, aren't we?
We are.
Yes, so bells on ringing. At the beginning of the year, we will have a fish fry, and everybody needs to come to that and enjoy. Did you guys know we had a back to school event in August, of which 656 backpacks were given away? Over 100 volunteers descended onto the grounds of Grace, including another Episcopal church all the way from Bastrop, Texas, who entered into the work that we did that day. We blessed an entire community, and we blessed lots of parents and kids as they went back to school. Round of applause for that. Woo-hoo! Ed, this is your doing. All your tireless effort and work, we have been granted full partnership with the Houston Food Bank now. So as of August of 2022, we are now in full partnership with the Houston Food Bank, meaning we are no longer an umbrella site, but we are an official site with the Houston Food Bank. It took about 2.5 years for it to happen. Thank you. Can I share this little bit of good news? Guess what? The diocese. I was just at clergy conference last week, and our Mission AMP team, the canons, each of them made it a point to come to me and said, if every church in our diocese was like Grace, how different would this world be? So this little church carries a reputation that goes way beyond Alvin, Texas, especially in regards to the Diocese of Texas. One of the things that Bishop Andy talked about in his bishop's address was this. I'll just say this. What he says and what he admires most about small churches is that we are nimble. And I love that word, we are nimble. And then he got up on his feet, and just like a football player, he just said, little churches, small churches can move and pivot easily and quickly. And he said that the small churches in our diocese are leading the way for missional work that is truly transforming cities and lives. It's not happening by way of the churches that take up one entire city block in a big city. That's not where the diocese is seeing meaningful action happening. Bishop Andy was affirming the role of the small church. I would consider Grace one of those. And what he was saying is we are quick to act. We are not afraid. And when we see a need, most small churches, if they have gumption, and if they have courage, and if they have a leader who might be a little bit crazy, they do it. And he just was very affirming, and I was incredibly encouraged by those words from our bishop. And so I wanted to share that with you guys. Be encouraged that the life of faith is being transformed by way of the small church. And that is going to be my rallying cry till the day I die, because I've seen it happen. I've lived it. I know it to be true, and I will say it until I die. And if I ever go to a bigger church, I don't know if I'll want to, but if I ever do, this and what has happened to me at Grace, I will never, ever forget and will always forever be grateful for. It's resurrection every day. And as Episcopalians, that is what we live for. That is what we believe. Good words from Bishop Andy, huh? Okay, just a few more things. Did you guys know, probably you didn't know, but today we finished our 3-year vitality cohort that we had with our diocese. Canon Joanne Sailors and Canon Beth Fain said that Grace passed with flying colors. We all got in this church A+s for the work that we are doing. Is that true, Mary?
It is true.
Is that true, Ed?
I heard it with my own 2 ears.
Yes. So
I will say she asked the question.
I did. I said, to end this all on a good note, tell us how we did. And Canon Joanne said, you guys passed with flying colors. You have made us very proud. In fact, she said, it might be the most well-spent money that any of the foundations has given out, and the return or the ROI has come back even better. So that is good work, and that is good ministry, something to be very proud of. We've been invited into another cohort with the diocese, a 3-year cohort called LEAD. And so the thinking behind that cohort is the second layer of leadership that I would like to raise up at Grace. Some of those folks have been asked to join in that cohort. And so for the next 3 years, we will be cohorting with fellow churches in the Lutheran denomination as well as the Episcopal Church. Well, might I say, we were just one of a few churches who also took part in the Theological Education Sunday. And that was in October. We were able to give a generous gift to the Seminary of the Southwest, by which they were very grateful. Remember, it is only through the seminary that we raise up the future priests of our diocese, of which I am one of them. I'm a graduate of SSW. And so inviting seminarians to come to Grace, as well as giving back to the seminary, y'all, that's the work that we have been called to do. And we have a responsibility to do it. And so every year that there's a Theological Education Sunday, guess what? Grace is going to be hosting a seminarian. So get ready. Who's going to come? Okay? One of the blessings that we have is Charlie. Don't leave. I'm about to put you on the spot. Okay, quickly. We have a healthy, and robust DOK group. And Charlie, I'm pointing you out because you have done an excellent job in leading these ladies, along with Mother Nan. And by far the coolest chapter name ever, Dame Julian Norwich. I often remember her in the Eucharistic prayer because she was such an amazing woman, mystic, mother, amazing. Anyhow, that's our chapter. In fact, 4 ladies were inducted in the spring, in which we celebrated that. Yes. So that's super exciting. So there's growth there, and that's really good.
More should rededicate soon.
So there's all kinds of goodness going on.
And starting a JDOK chapter?
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now what?
Very good. And to round things out, I would just like to say thank you to my church family for loving me through a very difficult season of my life. On a personal note, I have experienced what church I think is supposed to be, and you all have embraced not only me as a wife, a former wife, no longer, even still, you have embraced me. You've loved my children, and now as a single woman and priest of this parish, I have felt nothing but love, admiration, respect, devotion, kindness, generosity, goodness, greatness, any good word that you could say, I have experienced from the people of this parish. And when going through a life-changing and altering event, I will say it has saved me. I will tell you guys what I tell many people. God sent me to a church named Grace because I needed to learn how to receive grace and how to give grace. But along the way, I did not know that this church would be my amazing grace. And it truly has become my amazing and saving grace. And we all know it's because of the people of Grace. So each of you all hold a very special place in my heart. And I want you to know I can look at every single person in this room and say something specific about how you have encouraged me, how you have loved me through a very, very difficult season in my life. I don't even have to think twice. I could say it off the top of my head how every person in this room has done that for me. Please know how grateful I am and how thankful I am for your faithfulness to your priest and for standing by me and loving me when, and quite honestly, I was a mess for a while. But I'm not anymore. Thanks be to God, I'm not anymore. Well, I'm still kind of a mess, but I'm not the mess that I was. So that really is a celebration of how God is faithful and with lots of hard work. And sometimes, as you all know, sometimes it's just getting your rear end out of bed and just moving forward. And that's one of the big lessons I have learned. You know, when you set your mind to do something with time and intention, you can get to a better and healthier place. And so I hope you guys can see a difference in me, and I hope it comes out. And I'm not so sad anymore, and I'm not crying anymore, because life has opened up in a very beautiful way for me now. And I'm embracing it with my whole heart. And this place has helped me to get there. So thank you very, very much. So with that being said, let us pray, and then we'll go watch our Astros. Hopefully win tonight. The Lord be with you. God, you are so faithful, even when we are not. But one thing I have known since the beginning of my ministry here at Grace is that your presence is resting mightily upon this parish on Lang Street named Grace. Grazia. God, I thank you for every person that is here, every person that you have brought to us. God, I pray this place continues to be a refuge from the hardships of this world, a place where people can feel safe, loved, and welcomed. God, may we ever be mindful of your words, and may we want them to guide us, which are to love you and to love our neighbors. Simply, that is what you have asked and called us to do. So we thank you, God, in this time of stewardship, we can be mindful of those things and grateful for how we can build your kingdom in the way that you would want. Give us your heart, give us your eyes as we move about the space we inhabit to be your called disciples in this great, big, beautiful world. We ask all of this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all.